June 6, 2012. Friday. My name is Daniel Carter, a marine technician from the United States. The wind howled through the empty harbor as I stepped onto the small boat, the crew's faces etched with unease. The ocean stretched before us, dark and endless, swallowing the last hints of daylight. My destination was one of the most isolated lighthouses in the world, a towering relic standing alone in the vast Atlantic. Before we step deeper into this nightmare, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, now is the perfect time. Hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Would you ever take a job like this, knowing the risks? The contract was for 6 months, a high-paying but dangerous job. Many before me had abandoned their post, some vanishing without a trace. The locals warned me not to go. They whispered of strange occurrences, of eerie voices carried by the wind, of shadows that did not belong. But I dismissed their stories as superstition. After all, how bad could it be? As we neared the island, the lighthouse loomed ahead, its skeletal frame outlined against the stormy sky. Waves crashed violently against the rocks, sending sprays of salt water into the air. The boat crew unloaded my supplies in haste, their eyes darting nervously toward the lighthouse. "Lock the doors at night," one of them muttered. "Keep the lights on, and if you hear knocking, do not answer." Before I could ask anything, they pushed off, leaving me alone on the island. The lighthouse stood silent, its peeling paint and rusted metal railing telling tales of time and abandonment. The entrance door bore deep scratches, as if something had tried to claw its way inside. With a deep breath, I stepped in. The air was thick with the scent of damp wood and salt. The main room was small, with an old wooden desk, a radio, and a narrow staircase spiraling upward. I dropped my bags and checked my supplies, canned food, water, tools. This was my world now, alone. That first night, the isolation was suffocating. The waves crashed relentlessly outside and the lighthouse creaked as though it was alive. My dinner was simple, beans and bread, before I climbed the stairs to the lantern room. The beacon still worked, its slow, rhythmic rotations cutting through the darkness. Then I saw something. A shadow on the rocks below, motionless, watching. What do you think he saw? A trick of the mind, or something lurking just beyond the light? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. My breath hitched, the wind screamed, but the figure did not move. I blinked and it was gone. I tried to brush it off as exhaustion, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Hours passed and I drifted into uneasy sleep until I woke to a sound that sent ice through my veins. A knock, soft at first, then louder. If you were in Daniel's place, would you open the door or stay locked inside, hoping it goes away? Comment your choice. I sat up, my heart hammering. The old sailor's warning echoed in my mind. Do not answer if you hear knocking. The sound grew insistent, coming from the heavy wooden door below. I grabbed my flashlight, creeping down the stairs, my breath shallow. The door rattled as if something or someone was pushing against it. Then silence. I exhaled, stepping back. But just as I turned, a knock came again. This time from inside the lighthouse. I froze. My breath came in short gasps. Slowly, I swung my flashlight across the room. Nothing. I turned toward the staircase, the beam trembling in my hands. Then a whisper, so close it sent a shiver down my spine. Daniel, have you ever felt like someone whispered your name when no one was around? Tell me in the comments if you have ever experienced something unexplainable. I spun around, no one was there. The shadows in the corners seemed deeper, stretching unnaturally as the wind outside howled. My pulse pounded in my ears. I climbed back to my quarters, locking the door behind me. Sleep was impossible. The next day I tried the radio, static. The backup generator still worked, but I was completely cut off from the outside world. Every hour felt like an eternity. The silence of the island was oppressive, filled only with the crashing of waves and the distant cries of seabirds. Then, as night fell, the knocking returned. This time it was faster, more urgent. I stayed in my room, heart racing as the sounds moved, first at the front door, then at the base of the stairs, and then right outside my room. I clutched a wrench, my only weapon, and held my breath. The doorknob twisted slightly, then nothing. The hours stretched endlessly. Dawn finally arrived, bringing no comfort. The food and my supplies tasted stale. My reflection in the mirror looked gaunt, hollow-eyed, but I had to hold on. I told myself it was my mind playing tricks on me. But the next night proved otherwise. The knocking turned into scratching, deep, deliberate scrapes along the wood, as if nails were dragging against it. Footsteps echoed from the stairwell, slow, deliberate, but there was no one there. And then the whisper returned. "Daniel, let me in." My blood ran cold. I pressed my back against the wall, gripping the wrench tighter. The room seemed to shrink. The shadows grew darker. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. And then I saw it. A figure stood at the foot of my bed. It was barely visible, just an outline darker than the surrounding night. Hollow eyes stared at me. My body refused to move. I wanted to scream, but the air was thick, suffocating. Then the figure lunged. After 6 months of pure terror, Daniel is finally free, or is he? Do you believe he truly escaped, or has something followed him? Share your theory in the comments. If this story sent chills down your spine, do not forget to like and subscribe. And before you leave, answer this. If you had no way out, no escape, would you survive 6 months in this haunted lighthouse? Let me know in the comments.